Hello, everybody.
Just the other guys on the... Hello, Sam.
Other people.
En salute.
Proximate tuber 70. Proximate.
T the salute.
Dude. So today we're playing some more Halo Firefight. Because
Fiesta fight, apparently.
Well, we got a little bored of Borderlands, and by that I mean Borderlands was being a dick and wouldn't let us join a match, so we might come back to that, but for now, we're breaking it up.
It was totally by choice.
Yes, totally. And also, we've swapped voice things from Discord to Skype, because Discord was being a dickhead and not picking up Shaq last episode properly, so... And Skype's working better, for some reason. No, who would have thought?
Which is very surprising, but here we are.
Skype's a...
Hopefully the screen share works better too, because screen share was terrible for us on Discord, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So if screen share does actually work, then we'll probably record some co-op stuff on there that we're planning on doing, so that'll be useful.
So I might have some new things coming.
Oh, I wish we were recording my screen, because this grunt's just glitching all over the map.
Right, I'm coming. I can see. Oh, he's gone. I saw him for like a second. So, how have you been this week, Shaq?
I've been not too bad, considering, I guess.
Considering we have another 3 weeks of lockdown in the UK?
At least.
Yeah, at least. I mean, it was what we knew was coming, so...
Oh, boys. I thought that you, or whoever I was looking at, had just killed that elite. And then was walking towards me, and then I just blinked and realised it was still the elite. And then I died. So that's my story.
That's my story. Now you know who I got here.
I want to tell you my story. This might be our last chance.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Forklift, forklift. Forklift, forklift, forklift.
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 For Cliff.
I'm on the Phantom. How are they going to shoot me now? What the fuck are they going to do now? Oh, and I'm dead. And I've...
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam on the Phantom. Sam on the Phantom.
Yeah, we've been watching a few movies. We thought we'd talk about a few of them this week, since that's what we do. We had Tiger King last week, so we thought this week we'd talk a little bit about... we thought we'd go back to horror, kind of, because we did a horror episode a few weeks ago. A few episodes ago.
I guess it was just what we'd been watching lately. Not much has come out recently, so we were like, what's come out that we haven't seen? We were like, oh, people have been talking about the platform. People have been talking about VFW. People have been talking about The Lodge, which we won't talk about yet because we couldn't find a way to fucking watch it. But that was one of the reasons why we started to do this theme. Along with the fact there were some movies like Color Out of Space that I don't think we really talked about yet, even though we were going to.
No, but we definitely can do.
So we thought,
they're all kind of horror.
Let's talk about that since they came out and nothing else has.
Color Out of Space has been getting a lot of positive feedback. It's a Nicolas Cage movie, inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft.
The Nicholas Trump movie.
Nicholas Trump, yeah, because he does a really, really good Trump impression, but it's kind of unintentional. I think in an interview he was... Because I think in the movie it's like supposed to be an impersonation of his dad, or like his dad channeling through him. And it's like...
The character's dad, isn't it?
The character's dad. And
I was more excited if that was Nicolas Cage's dad. I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Well, like, we watched it before, and we didn't know that. We just thought he was doing a really, like... good Trump impression.
The stereotypical, over-the-top caricature Trump impression.
Yeah. But it was hilarious.
But apparently it's not.
Movie, yeah. Well, there's bits in the movie where he goes fucking insane. And, fucking die. Fucking die! There we are.
Why don't you just fuck off and die already? I do that every episode. I haven't even watched Breaking Bad. Just...
So...
It's a quotable line, okay? Leave me alone.
No, be consistent doing every episode.
We don't have fresh jokes. That's not what we're about.
We do this weekly. Do you think we have enough time to think about new jokes?
You think we have time to do things that aren't just the YMS voice, and that would be pretty bad. This is all we've got.
Speaking of...
If I were talking about waffling on media, I would say that their humor is pretty repetitive. It was funny the first time, but then they do it 16 more times per episode. We get it.
I just saw a grunt literally fly past me in the most comical fashion. That's going to be good to watch.
I like that they're all spawning with fuel rod cannons because they're giving me loads of ammo.
Bless. Yeah, it was a good movie. I did enjoy it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as some other people have that I saw, but I'd still say it's really good. I think my problem with it is maybe, I don't know. I don't. There's some bit parts in it where I was like, well, why is he in it? Like, there's the water guy, that guy who does, like, you know, I can't remember his character is, but he just felt so pointless in that movie. The guy who measures all the water and stuff to see if it's contaminated.
Don't you shit on the water guy.
I didn't like the water guy, and I didn't think he was that great at acting either. He was
Kino.
Poor.
I mean, he was like the lead character at the end, I guess, from what they did at the ending.
I didn't like that. It just felt the ending. I didn't like the ending either. It felt really like out of place compared to the rest of the tone of the movie. But everything else, I really loved. So
everything with the water boy was tonally like Detective Pikachu. That's the only way I could describe it. That's
Justice
how
Smith.
I felt the whole time.
It was basically Justice Smith.
Like, he looked a bit like Justice Smith, but like he acted like he was in that movie. Is more what I meant. Like,
yeah.
He reacted to things that were happening in this movie as though we were in a light-hearted child movie.
Yeah, the girl as well. I can't remember what her character's name is in the film. I know the actress
also
I really
press
like.
the back button because my god, I'm doing surprisingly good, and I want to brag about it to everyone watching.
Oh, that you are. Nice one.
The fuel rod cannon, man. That's all you need.
Yeah, the girl as well. Interestingly, the Nicolas Cage's daughter in the movie.
Oh, she was
reminds me of Catherine Newton as well. So even more Detective Pikachu.
I see that.
Even more Detective Pikachu. So yeah, it was pretty good. Essentially about this alien that crashes down to this llama farm with Nicolas Cage and his family. This alien, however, is like, it's how to explain it. It's essentially a light. You can't really see it, or like from what I researched in the book, it never describes what the light looks like, and because it's purple, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's Lovecraftian, isn't it? So it's the usual. It's beyond what I can describe in words, kind of thing.
Yeah. What if it was purple?
Yeah, it was very. I mean, aesthetically, it just gave it that 80s vibe as well, which I think helped them a lot.
But basically, yeah, this alien starts driving the family mad in different ways. It's best to kind of go in blind, I think, or at least not knowing too much. So obviously there will be spoilers in this. So I guess click away if you don't want to hear. It's directed by Richard Stanley, who's, from what I gather, he's got quite an interesting background. He worked on films where he got sacked off and stuff, and this is like his dream project, and he's doing one on the Dunwich horror.
I mean, like I said, the direction and the aesthetics are pretty much the lead part of the movie, I would say. Not just the light, but just in general, the whole way it's shot is pretty much what makes it what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
The acting's good too. I was gonna say,
yeah.
It's like, it's not great. It's pretty good though.
It's a very horrific film, and by horrific I mean in terms of body horror. There's a lot of like the Thing vibey kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like
where the alien.
That's the highlight outside of the direction by far.
I mean, obviously we said spoilers, so you know. As I said, this alien light thing, you know, starts driving the family mad, especially Nicolas Cage. But what was most interesting about it was, oh fuck, I just wasted another life. Cool. What was most interesting about it was the scene in which the light ends up conjoining the mother and the youngest son together into this hybrid creature thing. And it's really hard to describe how grotesque it is and how disturbing it is, but it was very disturbing. It was probably the moment in the film where I was like, okay.
It's a lot at first, and then it only just keeps getting worse and more uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's quite harrowing. Like the movements and the voice the Thing's making, the Thing. It's very reminiscent of the Thing.
Yes.
So yeah, it's pretty disturbing.
Quite a departure from the original book, but in what I would say a good way, I guess.
Yeah, isn't the original book just kind of like a short story?
Yeah, there's not that kind of body horror in the book.
Okay.
So I would say that was a change for the better, because it was definitely the most memorable, and I assume the biggest takeaway people will have is like, damn, that was fucked up.
Yeah. Interesting.
How much do you think everybody else we're playing with right now despises us?
I mean, is that even a question? They probably just want us
I don't
dead.
think they've died once. That guy just stole the Wraith.
I know, I just watched.
While the fucking enemies were in
The elite was like, okay, I'll jump out.
Meanwhile, we're just getting slaughtered, but fighting like singular brutes. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people online talk about it, but then I guess we're in quite pretentious little fucking indie circles, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what our audience is. Do we have an audience? What's happening? Where am I?
I don't know.
Am I Joe Biden?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Joe Biden was filmed in front of a live audience. That's what it is. It's literally like a sitcom with him, just saying shit.
Joe Biden was filmed in front of a live audience. He didn't realize.
Yeah, obviously Alien and Cordy FX did a really good video on it, and I think they liked it a lot more than I did. Again, I don't think it's a bad film.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
There's
you
just
could
bits
see.
of it where I was
You
like,
could see the stitches. I guess I would say if that's.
Yeah.
Is that the right the right term I'm using?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean,
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
You could see the lines where it was all held together.
It's his first properly directed movie, I think. I might be wrong. Well, like proper big, notable popular movie, assume with a bigger crew and all that. So, I can be a bit more like, that's fair enough.
I'm
Not
so
through the
annoyed at
horror
how many
hill.
times I just shot this fucking hunter and it didn't die, which means someone else is going to go in and one-shot it and get all the fucking points.
I have no points at all. I'm doing terrible.
Yeah, don't press the back button this time. I don't want the shame.
I already did. I took down the hunter. I took down the hunter.
Don't look! Don't look!
Please don't air this, okay? Please don't air this. You won't air this, right?
Oh, no, we definitely air it. We always air it, no matter what we air it. That's how we do it, my friend. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on Family Fight. Take care.
What would you rate it out of 10?
I'm going to give it a generous 7. Probably a 6, but I'm going to say it's a 7.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be a 6, but I'm going to do it to a 7.
6
because...
and an 8.
Oh, shit. I was just trying to jetpack away from those grenades, but oh well. Yeah, I'd probably give it the same. So, we watched a movie called... I'm just going to YMS. Wait, what was it again? You say it? I keep forgetting what it's called.
VFW.
VFW, that's the one. I can't remember what it stands for.
Veterans Fight Werewolves. I think it's Veteran of Foreign Wars.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, it's about a group of... Yeah, so it's set in this dystopia where this drug has basically turned the whole of society into a shit tip. And there's this, like...
Yeah, it's a very weird premise. The premise is weirder than the movie itself, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. Essentially...
It tries to set it up almost like a... I can't think, like almost like a RoboCop-y kind of like dystopian future where like crime runs rampant and the police do nothing because there's nothing. But then when you actually see it all, it's like, oh, it just seems like the normal reality, but with less police, I guess.
Yeah, essentially. It's called Hype. The drug's called Hype, I think, and it's just taking people. Basically, there's this girl, and she goes to steal like a shit ton of this hype. Because this kingpin, this drug kingpin, used hype, or like basically gave this girl's sister loads of hype, and she died from it. So, or just she didn't die from
some
it.
kind of like bad influencer thing.
Yeah,
Hype
kinda,
man.
yeah.
I'm
But
your
she
hype
jumps
man.
off. She jumps off the balcony, doesn't she, her sister? And it's the funniest fucking thing. We were laughing lots.
Yeah, she just turns into spaghetti.
Yeah. It's a good way of
Oh
describing
my
it.
god, I'm going to die.
Yeah, me too.
I
did my
refuse.
duty.
I refuse to waste the life I'm just going to hide out of the way.
Oh shit. Yeah, essentially this girl, yeah, we'll have a health pack. Essentially this girl is trying to avenge her sister by stealing all this hype from the Kingpin, and the Kingpin gets very pissed off, and she runs, and I'm dead. She runs to this veterans kind of like hangout pub thing led by, well, owned by Stephen Lang's character. I think his name was Fred. And the Kingpin obviously follows the girl back, and they, the vets and this girl have to. The girl's called Lizard.
You say the Kingpin, and I think I like Vincent D'Onofrio, but this guy looks more like Chris Angel, just as a heads up for everyone. Cool, there's only the one guy left.
Mondeo Gaming 1.
I guess we're watching him.
Yep. Nice. And he's
an orbital asset, Spartan. If you can still
F.
hear me, it's time to pull out.
That's what women say to me all the time. So, what did you think of VFW?
Oh, I forgot we were talking about that.
Or was it? Wait, was it WFV? You know what?
No, you said it right. I think Veterans of Foreign
VFWs.
Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely forgot we'd started talking about it because we did take a little break in between, I guess.
Yeah. But I've kind of given this summary, but I just want to know what your initial thoughts are. Did you like it?
I did. I mean, I don't think there's anything. Maybe there's one movie we watched that I wasn't as keen on, but everything I like. There's a benefit to everything that we watched.
Yeah.
None of
them were
garbage.
terrible movies. Yeah.
The stuff we're talking about today, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did I like it as much as Color Out of Space? Possibly. Very similar vibe, low budget, 80s inspired.
Yeah.
Kind of overtly thinks of itself as a B movie.
I think I preferred Color Out of Space just a little bit more.
The body horror in Color Out of Space was probably enough of a highlight to agree with you.
Yeah.
I expected some of that when they talked about this drug turning people into mutants, but then they just kind of it looked like they had herpes and acted pretty normal otherwise.
Yeah. I liked Stephen Lang in it. Obviously, he was.
I liked the guy that wasn't Murtaugh from Always Sunny's version of Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. The one that you said was me for some reason when we were watching it. I can't remember why, but he was. He was basically really quiet for like most of the movie until the end, when he takes some of the hype to kill.
That was my issue. I was going to use that as an example when I was talking about how I felt like there was a lot of underdeveloped stuff with the drug. Is they talk about it like turning people into brainless zombies, but then he takes it and acts exactly the same afterwards. Yeah,
and then he just like fucking die. He's just sitting at the bar and he just dies. There was like, oh, he's dead. Oh,
yeah,
well.
It's just really weird.
And they just kind of skip over it.
I guess spoilers, by the way, but yeah. Yeah, it's just really weird because he takes it and then he's like, everyone get away from me. I don't know what I'm going to do. And they all move to the other side away from him. And then it cuts to the next scene where the bad guy comes in the bar and they're all stood right next to each other. And he's just stood in a line with them. And I'm like, oh, I guess they're not scared of him anymore. And now he's fine.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird choice.
And then he fights just as hard and strong as the rest of them. He doesn't become like stronger from having taken it. He doesn't like look more feral or act less, in control. I was like, oh, okay. Still a better drug-taking scene than Birds of Prey, though, so I'll give him that.
Got him. I think you've described it really well. I think a lot of it's very underdeveloped. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's all underdeveloped, but I think if I was going to have any issues with it, it was probably because some of it was underdeveloped. But most of the characters have enough to go on that you like them. They've got motivations and stuff. And I liked the businessy looking dude. I can't again, names I don't really know. Fred and Lizard.
Yeah.
I forgot. The guy who was kind of like their friend,
the
who
car
was a bit younger
salesman.
than them. The car salesman, yeah. I liked his character. He was funny, and he also had a lot of heart in the end. And I liked the Tubby guy, who was like his closest friend, I think, the Tubby dude.
Oh, I thought you meant the first Tubby dude that's in it for like 3 minutes.
Oh no, yeah, because they kind of forget. We were saying they really forget about him, don't they?
Yeah, it's weird. One friend dies quite early on, and they just kind of go, "Oh man, that's disappointing." And then later, when they're talking about the scene where that guy died, Stephen Lang's like, "I'm angry because she scratched my truck."
Yeah.
Not because my friend died, but every other friend that dies, they make a big deal out of, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so angry that this friend's dead." But that first guy, I guess, meant fucking nothing to them. So
yeah, and then like they've got the guy who looks like Jeff Lowe from Tiger King on, he's like bleeding out and stuff, and they obviously they're going to care about him and stuff, but like they have a moment
care about
where they
Jeff
probably
Lowe. He's such a nice guy.
Oh yeah, and his hot wife, but like they kind of when he dies, there's like a big moment for that. It's like, oh, not about the other guy. Like they all kind of get a moment, or even like the black dude, we'll call him Mac. When he dies, he just sat there and like, oh, he's dead. Oh well. It's like, what? I thought he was like your closest friend because he was kind of with you at the start of the movie. We introduced you both at the same time. It was just weird. You got like the young army guy who's like, I think he's like an Afghan. I can't remember when it's set. It feels like it's set in present day. And the young soldiers, like, he fought in Afghanistan or something, whereas the others have all fought in Vietnam. Oh, there's a sniper. I'm going to get him. Got him. No, yeah.
I got him.
Nice. You did it. You did it.
I wasn't a brag. It was just a letting you know not to waste your ammo.
I mean, think it's set in the future, but I think it is set in, like, a present-day kind of scene, where they're Vietnam War vets, and then the young guy's, like... I think, presumably, he fought in Afghanistan or something like that.
I originally thought that it was set in the 80s, like, that was the aesthetic they were giving me, but I guess that's just meant to be that the town hasn't, like, evolved much since it's lawless or whatever. So everything has an 80s aesthetic to it. There's a scene where they're in the parking lot and it looks like modern-day Leeds. Which some people watching might get, but if not, then Google Thatcher's Britain architecture, I guess. Like, that kind of... it's hard to describe without sounding biased, but yeah, it's just like... It takes the soul out of you looking at it. I can only imagine what it's like to live in those cities.
Yeah, I mean...
every day looking out your window like, oh, there's that grey square again.
That block. That fucking block.
What's to my right? Oh, it's a different grey square. Yeah, it's very much a bottle episode of a movie.
Yeah.
I guess we could just say bottle movie, but that's not as fun.
No, it was relatively well made, well directed. Again, I don't think it's not special. I think there's a lot of stuff they could have developed a bit better. But it was a pleasant time watching it. It was funny in places. What would you give VHS? Sorry, VU. I don't know. What would you give it out of 10?
Vagina.
That's interesting.
I don't know, man. I keep giving everything a 7, so I guess I'll give this one a 6, so that everything's not just a 7.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6. I kind of got similar opinions on these. I definitely preferred Color Out of Space.
I think Color Out of Space was a more proficient movie, aesthetically and direction-wise. I think the characters were more interesting in VFS. VFW, I can't even say it now.
Well, they definitely weren't Waterboy. So, would you say, then, that our third movie is a good movie? Do you think... Because and by that I mean, would you say, compared to the other two, would you say it's good? Good isn't, like, not excellent. Would you say it's good? Because... I would call it.
I don't really know. This one's harder than the other two, to be honest. I wouldn't call it bad, if that's worth anything. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. Would I ever go back and watch it again?
Well, it's
Maybe?
The movie we're talking about is The Platform, by the way, which is on Netflix, which is a Spanish movie that's been getting a lot of hype. If you've got Netflix, you've probably seen advertisements for it. Maybe not, but we watched it, hearing all the hype, and
we watched it sub and dub to be proper.
I went back and
no criticism that we only watch dubs, guys.
I watched a couple of scenes after, or like it was today actually when I was preparing for the podcast. Watched a few scenes in Spanish, and I kind of wish we watched it in Spanish, to be honest, because the acting was a lot more believable. And obviously, it's not any fault of the actors; it's the dubs that ruin it. But in that, they not believable as such, but less cheesy and silly. It felt real and raw.
So you talk just voice acting, I'm guessing then.
Yeah, or the actual Spanish the actors where they're just their voices. Obviously, I had the subtitles on, but the actors were very good.
Yeah,
The actors were good in general, to be honest. But
I kind of kept switching between the two while we were watching it just to see what the differences were. But I left the subtitles on the whole time anyway, so I still had the Spanish subtitles while we were listening to it. Just to get both sides, so we can rate both.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah. I definitely wish we watched the Spanish version in full. But it's essentially this dystopian... We love the dystopians. Oh shit, I didn't realise I was... I was still on a roof and I didn't realise what was going on.
Did you time out?
Mm-hmm.
Like I did.
I did, yeah. Didn't realise.
It sucks, right?
It does.
At least we're not heroic this time, so you can respawn.
Yeah. But yeah, it's set in this, like, prison... and it's like a big... It's hard to describe. It's like a giant tower, and there's 2 people in each cell, and each cell is on top of the other. And each day, this massive, like, stone tablet of food goes from the top all the way to the bottom. And that's the only food the prisoners get every day. And obviously, once it gets to the bottom, people aren't going to get a lot of food because it's been eaten.
Well, we took too long, and we're not getting our full bonus round.
Yay!
So we've only got 30 seconds left to play. So, kill everything you can!
Grunt. But that's essentially the premise, and it's about this prisoner this guy who volunteers to be in it, not knowing exactly what it is.
Yeah, he says he's going to get a degree from being in it.
Yeah. The degrees aren't really ever explained properly, I don't think. Not if I remember.
Well, it's implied later.
Exactly.
I guess we'll just go straight spoilers, because there's the premise. There's nothing you can talk about in this movie other than the premise without spoiling it.
Yeah.
It's implied later when he's in the cell with one of the women that helps run the project, that the project is a social experiment by the government.
Yeah.
I guess. So I guess they give away these degrees because they need more volunteers, because there's not enough people going in normally, I guess.
Yeah, because
from the prison system.
Yeah.
The other guy he talks to who's in there from the prison system said he got the choice to either go to a mental institution or
do the experiment.
to go into the pit, I guess. Lads. Unsk.
Get in.
Do you think that's what the UNSC chant is?
Unsk.
It's just like a big fucking chav rave.
Fucking doing, you Covenant bastard!
Captain Keyes, no, you ticker! Unsk. He's got a heart condition, somebody help me, Captain!
The flood's just on his fucking face. Here we fucking go. Here we fucking go.
Here we fucking go.
Yeah, so the platform. As you said, that's the premise. The acting is really good. I don't think it was a bad performance, really.
No,
Every month, the lead character, I can't remember what his name is. It was Vijay or something. He gets...
Adam Driver.
Yeah, he reminded me of Begbie from Trainspotting, and you said Adam Driver, so I just saw Begbie and Adam Driver thrown together.
Van Gogh from...
Doctor Who, yeah, I can't remember what his name is.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Van Stay.
That's...
performances were pretty solid. The premise was interesting. It felt to me kind of like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
But like a lot of Black Mirror episodes, it suffered from cloudy message and weird, ambiguous ending.
Yeah, I mean, everything, like, visually was there. I thought the direction was good. I thought the set was pretty beautiful. It was just the message. I mean, the story premise is really good.
The thing is, I'm fine with the message if we lived in a different time where people could just watch a movie and be like, oh, that was an interesting exploration of this hypothetical point. But it isn't that ever anymore, is it? It's, how does this relate to our current political spectrum, and how are people going to take this message and use it as an example of something that is actually related to modern politics?
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, I have no idea what it was trying to say. And either of the things it was trying to say, it can't be successful at.
Well, do we want to preface
It manages to like try and be non-partisan.
Yeah.
Or bipartisan, either, I guess. I would say more non-partisan. It tries to not take a side at all, is how it feels. But then at the end, it inevitably does take a side, but it's already spent too long criticizing both sides for its point to now mean anything.
The issue, I think, with it is that, well, to kind of explain what happens, the main character decides that the only way to stop, well, not basically complete the experiment, if you want to call it that, is to basically go down with all of the food and stop all the prisoners from eating it, and then go back up and make a message to the people who are sending the food down. Essentially, that's. It sounds ridiculous, but if you watch the movie and you kind of understand it, it makes more sense. It's hard to explain without seeing it, but it's essentially about. I mean, just to be straight with it, communism, about sharing and finding a way to beat the system and
but not particularly about being pro-communist. That's the question. It's not particularly pro-communist because at multiple points throughout the movie it points out how this doesn't work, why this won't work, and why human nature is directly opposed to the idea, which is a very interesting thing to point out. It's true. It's a true point, but it's weird that it also seems to still have the message of being like, hey, this is what we need to do, but we can't ever do it, is basically the message.
the lead character is very about this message of, sharing just to get the people above.
I'm also on the fandom.
And then, are you? Now you know how it feels.
I'm falling!
Yeah, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill you.
Luckily I have a jetpack.
I did last time, but I forgot to use it. But, I'm in the lead. What's that all about?
That was funny after I thought about it for a second.
Finally.
I was
a bit of respect.
Just imagine you falling out of something in real life, and as you're about to hit the ground, you're like, "Oh!" Just like the big train.
It's like the big train thing.
Yeah,
oh
shit! Like, I have a parachute. Oh.
They kind of give this impression that he's going to do it. He's going to beat the system, and he's going to show that we can working together we can do it. But as he goes down, he starts bashing them in the head with poles, and it's like
he kills hundreds of them by the montage we got. Just brains bashed in.
He's essentially Stalin.
That was my issue. Is the only message I can take away from this movie is that communism is good, and the only way to achieve it is by killing everyone that disagrees. That was the message of this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think it was intentional, by the way. I'm not trying to say that's what the director wants, but that was the takeaway, and that's very fucking scary. So, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it in the end.
The director said that it was about, working together and all that and stuff, and I was like, well, we didn't get that impression.
Yeah, there was no working together.
Very pro-Marxist kind of...
That's
the vibe I got from the interviews.
An ambiguous ending where it's left, where you could be like, maybe the people above change their mind, maybe, and choose to work together, but we don't see that. And it's just as likely that they were like, no, we're not going to do that, and everything stayed the same. So we... At no point on screen do we see anything that implies that anyone has worked together or is going to work together, other than him and the one cellmate who go down and choose to work together to do this by threatening and murdering everybody else who disagrees with them.
Yeah. But like you were saying, I think this is it. I don't think it knows what it wants to be. It could say, look, this is communism, but it's flawed. Maybe there's another way. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of messages you could take out from it if it was done a lot better. I think you can be centrist, and I think you can say, look, here's the problems with this, and here's the problems with this. But here are the good things with this, and here are the good things with this. But it's not communicated well, because he said that he's pro this, and it's never... But he gives it such a bad rep, and it's like, what? I think that's the problem with it. The message of the movie is so skew-whiff. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know what point it wants to make.
No, 100%.
We both agreed on that. It was just very peculiar.
It's just a very worrying message.
Yeah.
Because I can't see it as being anything else. There's nothing else to take away from it. Even when you include, I guess, more details, because we've left some stuff out. But even when you include that they find a little girl at the bottom and they decide to send her back up to the main people.
As a message,
As a message. And it's symbolic that this girl's existed down here and she survived and she's alive and nobody's eaten her or something, I guess, is the message.
Yeah.
Even when they get into that, they've murdered lots of people to get to that point, and I don't see how that changes any of that. Yeah, it's a very confusing movie, and I'm sure everyone's going to be like, "Oh, but it's supposed to be left to interpretation," and I'm like, "That's fine," but the main interpretation, the most obvious one to take, is a dangerous and violent message, and I severely disagree with that.
Yeah, same here. As I said, as a movie, it's pretty good. You know, there's a lot of gory scenes. There's a lot of really quite distressing scenes in places where the cellmate's trying to, you know, he's cutting off bits of cellmate that he's wrapped up because he's trying to eat him and stuff like that. It's really good. I wish the movie just went in a different direction with its message. If you want to make a movie about communism and all that, cool, do it. Good stuff. And, you know, what the perks of it, interesting. Let's see your point of view and how it is. But you just don't have a very good way of doing that, because you essentially go for a whole, this is good, look, we're killing people, but it's still good. We're killing people who disagree, but you know, it is still good. That's essentially the movie, the message, and it just, yeah, very Stalin, as I said, you know.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because I do like the premise, and I like the acting, and I like how it looks, and visually it's pretty good, the music's really good.
Lily's going to love it.
Oh yeah, oh, she'd love it, she'd adore it. Just the message, it's good. Here's the thing, I'd still recommend it, because
it's the movie that I would probably recommend least of the ones we've talked about so far. It's also the movie that I would say had the most potential of all the ones we've talked about so far. I'll talk a little bit about Underwater, because I saw that earlier in the year and we never spoke about it, I don't think.
Yeah, go.
I don't think you've watched it yet, have you?
I haven't, no, the Kirsten Stewart one.
It was okay. Trying to think where I'd rank it compared to the other movies. Not going to go into as much detail since you haven't seen it, but
yeah.
And also we've got less time. But it wasn't a million miles away from like the Color Out of Space thing. I mean, it's trying to be Lovecraftian 100%.
Yeah, there's a Cthulhu kind of vibe to it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's eldritch monsters at the bottom of the sea, basically. So quite Lovecraftian in that vibe.
There's an eldritch monster at the bottom of the sea?
They don't lean into it enough, is one of the issues I have. There's a moment where she's going through lockers and they see the inside of a certain character's locker has all of these weird, kind of dark, ritually Lovecraftian things in it. And then they just never talked about it again. Like, I'm like, was that meant to be a plot point? Was it meant to be that someone summoned the creature? Or is it meant to be... No idea, it doesn't tell you. So, felt like that would have been interesting to dive into, personally.
Yeah.
Dive into.
Oh, you did a thing. You did a thing.
Yeah, the performances were relatively good. A lot of people absolutely despised TJ Miller in it. I thought he was okay. He was nowhere near as cringe as people had explained he was going to be. I thought he was less cringe in this than he was in Deadpool, and I quite like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like, he was okay, yeah. It's got the guy who was the lead in Belko Experiment. He was alright. None of the characters really get fleshed out hugely, apart from Kristen Stewart, however the fuck you say her name. But the bits you do see of them are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to everything we've talked about today, I guess. It's a movie with a lot of potential that it doesn't 100% hit.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff about it. It doesn't set itself up well. It starts very bombastically, and it's.
I've heard it. It just starts. It just gets straight into it.
Yeah, I'm assuming you watched the Filmento vid at this point.
I've watched the Cordy FX vid, and I think I did watch the Filmento one. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk a bit about what he says, I guess. Yeah, it starts quite abruptly with the station exploding, with no time to get to know the characters or anything. It would have been more interesting to follow the Alien format, like he says, where it starts with them all sat around the table conversing, and you get to see little snippets of their characters in everyday life and why they care about each other and how they interact with each other, so that then you kind of care about them when shit does hit the fan.
Yeah.
But instead, we only see them interact with each other as shit's going down, so we never know what their relationship was before that, or even if they had one.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you care about them a lot less, and it makes them a lot more expendable.
Yeah, that's problem, I suppose, these kind of movies, because there's a lot of movies that try to do Alien. And they forget about some of the bits that make Alien so unique in that genre, and it is the characters and the setup.
It felt more Prometheus than Alien, I'll say that. I guess that can be a summary of it. No idea what I'd rate it. I'll probably call it a 6. I don't think it's high a 6 as VFS. I keep calling it V. I keep thinking VHS. It's not VHS. Yeah, I think I probably enjoyed VFW a little bit more. I'd probably say this was a more competent movie, if that makes sense.
Competently made, or competent in terms of everything in general?
Both. The pacing, obviously the budget was higher. Yeah. The visuals are better. The direction's better. You get some very interesting scenes. So yeah, there's
you'd recommend.
There's that. I'd recommend, but on a slow day when you want to watch a horror movie, which for me is most days.
Yeah. Well,
thanks for sticking around for this kind of unscripted episode. I mean, they're all unscripted, but less organized episode. And enjoy us shitting on something next week, guys.
Yeah.
Hope you're all enjoying lockdown as much as humanly possible. Stay safe. Wash your penises.
Hands. Wash your penises. That's more important than your hands.
That comes first, yeah. then wash your hands. If you don't have a penis, if by some miracle we have girls that like our channel, wash someone else's penis. Not in a fun way, just like bleach and one of those like steel wool scrubbers you use to clean out metal. Just give them the full once over. It can be your boyfriend, it could be someone you don't like. Just dealer's choice, really.
What do you see?